Well, it's about time. Welcome to L Squared, a podcast with fresh Love Island content. Let's start this review with the end of episode 13 of Love Island season 2, because that's where things get interesting. At the end, where they mention Casa Amor! Yay! Casa Amor means love house in Spanish. Casa Amor on Love Island is one of the biggest twists of the show. They separate the couples, girls in one villa, guys in another villa, and they introduce each group to 5 new sexy singles. So the girls who are in the main villa will get to meet 5 new guys, and the guys who will be in Casa Amor, a separate villa, will be introduced to 5 new girls. This situation tests the current couples we have because both groups have the opportunity to choose a new person to couple up with or stay in their current couple. In the situation that one person couples and another doesn't, that means the person uncoupled will be single. Of course, we have other situations where both people in the couple can find someone new or they can decide to stay together. We won't know who decides to stay loyal until the Islanders reunite in the main villa. Until then, we have to endure 3 days of Casa Amor. But I believe it'll be about 6 episodes or 6 hours of Love Island episode time where us as the viewers get to experience what Casa Amor was like for the Islanders. Spoiler alert. We knew that Trey and Lauren weren't going to make the cut for episode 13, that they were going to get dumped in the very beginning because the day the episode was supposed to premiere, CBS Viacom released photos of the episode on their website, and it showed all of the couples in the Tie the Knot challenge except for Trey and Lauren. So they spoiled the episode for everybody. But I just want to inform all of my listeners that we're not going to be broadcasting spoilers on this podcast. If you'd like information like that, you can follow us on Twitter or ask to join our group chat where we discuss things like that. But you never have to expect any sorts of spoilers from these episodes. Now on to the juice. Lauren fussed everybody out during her exit. As Kirsten said, she knows how to make an entrance and an exit. She called all the girls hoes, all the boys hoes. She said they were all fake. She was mad because she didn't get enough time to, I guess, get to know Carrington, or like the guys were taking too long to make a move on her. And I have to agree. We commented in the previous episode that everybody was playing it safe a lot. And in Lauren's exit interview, she said that those relationships in the villa aren't going to work on the outside because they're not working on the inside. And that's a realistic perspective. Hey, we're not Team Lauren here. We're Team Justine. But I'm just saying, in Lauren's anger, she did have some real points, or, you know, she was saying something. She wasn't just making noise. But Caleb doesn't care because, as he said, I don't give a rat's about what Lauren may have to say about anyone in the villa. Trey's exit was a lot quieter. One of the guys commented that he was the realest in their group. In his exit interview, he said he kept it real. So he's going to be one of those ex-Islanders saying, yeah, I lost, but hey, I was being myself. So yeah, Trey, you can take those points. You were being yourself. And that didn't make you a fan favorite. So hopefully when he gets out of the villa, he addresses the tweets and he doesn't try to ride on Justine's coattails to maintain any sort of fame as some other ex-Islanders have done. Once again, we'll have an episode recapping the ex-Islanders exit interviews and post-show interviews. The first couple I want to talk about is Calvin and Moira. even want to talk about this couple because I still feel like they're not a couple. And since America put them in the top 3, which we really didn't, which we discussed in the poll results last episode, they've gone from stale couple to pretender couple because now Calvin sees, oh, America thinks we're compatible. We don't, Calvin, we don't. But he thinks that now. So he's trying to put more of the Mac on Moira. He's kissing her more. And in my mind, he's just leading her on. Now he's more motivated to play the game with her because he thinks that we're rooting for him, but we're not. I mean, we're rooting for Moira, and I like Calvin. I think he's charming, but honestly, I think the two of them bring each other down. Like before Moira was in the relationship with Calvin, she seemed a lot more fun. We saw more scenes of her. And then our first impression of Calvin was a very fun guy, but together it just seems like they're not clicking. We're not getting those scenes anymore. So I don't really like the fact that all of a sudden Calvin goes from no PDA to lots of kissing with Moira, making out in bed. It just rubs me the wrong way. I think Calvin is giving the impression that he's on the show to get famous. He's definitely, in it for the competition. I mean, they all are, but it's a lot more fun when it comes across like they actually are into each other. And I just hate that Moira thinks that she may have a real relationship with Calvin when really Calvin has just moved their relationship from just friends to friends with benefits. Um, in the conversation after the tie the knot challenge, when they were discussing marriage, I really think Calvin was just bored with Moira. Like, I feel maybe they're not clicking intellectually because I know like Calvin is someone who's very like clever and quirky. So maybe Moira's cleverness and quirkiness just doesn't align with his. But he looked very bored in that conversation. And I just think he's kissing her out of duty just to sort of keep up an appearance. And out of that conversation, we know that Moira wants marriage and Calvin is a little more free spirited with it. He says, 4 seasons and a road trip, and then you'll know whether or not that person is for you. So I like his spontaneity, but Moira just seems a much more laid back than he is. And I thought the dance he did when he got the text was super cute. I know some people don't like Calvin's dance moves, but I really see them as a highlight. Now we're on to another stale relationship. This relationship is so dry. The cardboard is cracking. Have you ever seen cardboard crack? Like, oh my goodness, bring on Casa Amor. Connor and Mackenzie. So Mackenzie, of course, is disappointed because America has told her once again that her relationship ain't it. So now she's wondering even more so what Connor may have said to Lauren because, again, she's questioning his honesty and integrity because, once again, the communication in that relationship is terrible. Mackenzie is demanding direct answers and Connor is constantly giving her roundabout answers. He just talks in circles and she just doesn't get it. But she's trying so hard to make the relationship work. And in truth, I said they were a match in terms of their self-esteem, but without the communication, they have no key. Like they can't make it work. I do think Connor is less confused now. He thinks they're growing and they're in a good spot. I think he's decided to be comfortable with what their relationship is. And I admire that in him because you're never going to find a perfect person. You just have to find someone whose personality traits that you don't like as much you're willing to put up with. You have to find someone whose crap you're willing to deal with and work through that together. So I think Connor has the right idea for a relationship and he's willing to build on it. But I think Kenzie is getting turned off by him just because he never speaks directly. He's not a very straightforward guy. And I think she's getting tired of figuring things out with men. As she stated in a conversation with Kirsten where she said that in relationships, she hasn't really caught on to when the guy is no longer into her. And she's feeling that way with Connor. She thinks he's bored in their relationship. But, I mean, that's hard for us to tell. It seems like he's into her still. I think he's just may be boring to her. Like, I think she's getting bored with the relationship and she's just projecting that onto Connor, but we'll have to wait and see where that goes. As far as the marriage conversation her and Connor had, Connor is Mackenzie's biggest problem is she can't read Connor's mind, and Connor's biggest problem is he can't be straightforward with Mackenzie. Not ready for marriage, of course, but Mackenzie wants to get it right on the first time, and that's why she's trying to put so much energy into her and Connor's relationship and really just trying to work out their kinks in the beginning. Honestly, there shouldn't be that many kinks in the beginning, but I understand where the girl is coming from. She knows what she wants. There's just not communicating well. That's their biggest thing. And if they can get over that hump, that's fine. They bickered a lot during the tie the knot challenge. Connor's just way too passive for Kenzie. She wants a guy who's going to take charge. On to the next one. Jaleb, aka Caleb and Justine's relationship. So first of all, they were looking so cute during the neon party. My Cosmo, my Wanda. After the dumping of Trey and Lauren, Caleb and Justine had a conversation about their relationship, of course, and they felt very validated about their situation because they were in the top 3, as they should. They are a favorite. They were rightly at the top. During their conversation, I noticed that Justine still likes Caleb more than Caleb likes her. We've been seeing this for a while now. Justine's excitement about Caleb has always been higher than his excitement for her. We saw that in the car wash challenge, and just the way she talks about him. She's just so excited to have a new guy who's interested in her, that she's actually attracted to personality-wise and physically. But once again, I'm still holding the belief that Caleb isn't as attracted to Justine on the same levels of physically and personality. I think they're growing in the personality area, and I think he's finding her physically more attractive as he gets to know her personality. But Caleb didn't have that initial spark that Justine had. So his energy level for her just isn't quite matching yet. And I think since they're spending more time together and he's so open to growing the relationship, he's working his energy up there slowly. It's just not equal yet. So during their conversation, when they were on the day beds dressed as Cosmo and Wanda, Caleb was kind of giving me a vibe that he didn't really know what to say to Justine when she was expressing that she likes him a lot. And I just kind of got the feeling, like, just from watching that, he didn't know what to say. I mean, I don't think he lied. I don't think he's a liar or a disingenuous man. I just think he felt like, I just think he felt a little bit stressed out because he doesn't want to tell Justine that he doesn't like her or that he doesn't like her as much as she likes him. So he kind of has to say something along the lines of what he's feeling, which is, I'm getting there. So I think he just felt a little bit nervous about being vulnerable with her, while at the same time not rejecting her. So with Caleb, I think Justine is trying to go all in with him, and he's just trying to play along with it, sort of. He's doing what he can, kind of like what he said last episode. Like, he feels like he's been flirting with her, like putting in effort to try it out, but once again, he's not smitten. So we learned from the tie the knot challenge that Justine is ready for the ring. As she said, she's 27, but Caleb is a bit younger. He's in his early 20s, and he knows enough to say that he wants a strong, healthy marriage. And he said in a conversation with Justine, one thing that he wants the most is to be a good dad. I noticed that their banter is that they hype each other up. And once I picked up on that, I realized a little bit more of what Justine was saying, that Caleb is hard to read because the banter is flirtatious, but it doesn't really give you an indication of how he's really feeling. Like, when someone's playing with you, you just know they like you, but you don't know how much they like you. When he's complimenting her, I think she was just wondering if he really means it or if he's just being nice. But anyway, Caleb basically said he's not ready for marriage yet, but that's something he would like to do in the long term. And honestly, from watching that conversation, I don't think Justine really liked that response. I think it made her feel a little bit impatient because, like she said, she's ready for the ring right now, but she was playing it cool in their conversation. So I'm glad Justine is still super excited about Caleb, and I'm glad Caleb is warming up to Justine. But once again, the chemistry with those two isn't completely coming together. I think Caleb is finally just starting to get comfortable with Justine. Now we're on to Jely. Sally says her and Johnny will be the best married couple. I know she's joking, but I still think she's one of those people who says what she means in a happy go lucky tone and it sounds like a joke, but she really means it. So I definitely think she sees herself with Johnny long term and maybe even marrying him at some point. I think it's so fun and funny how super competitive Jely is. Sally and Johnny, they just hype up each other's beasts within when it comes to these challenges. And I'm also so mad that they won the tie the knot challenge. Of course, I was rooting for Jaleb. I wanted them to win. And just like Justine said, we wanted to shut Jely up. But it doesn't matter that they won because now they're on Justine's voodoo list. Now, Justine and Sally are best friends. So I'm going to say Sally's not on the list, but Johnny definitely is. He was not supposed to win that challenge over Justine. Everybody who goes against Justine gets eliminated. Jeremiah is gone. Trey is gone. Lauren is gone. Let's not forget Lauren kissed Justine's man Caleb in a challenge. So Johnny better watch his back. His day is coming. Oh, wait a minute. It's tomorrow because Casa Amor is happening in the next episode, and we already know Johnny is going to be on some loose, some let me get a taste of this, a lick of that type of stuff. So we'll see how much longer Johnny lasts in this competition because he just put himself on the voodoo list. Sally, I don't think Justine is intentionally going to put any voodoo toward her, but she may be collateral damage in Johnny's situation. Like she may just get a bite by association. Because if Johnny is acting a fool and being a mess in Casa Amor, and then he goes back to Sally, single, and wanting to stay with her, and then word gets back that Johnny was up to some shenanigans in Casa Amor, Sally's not going to want him, and the public is going to hate Johnny. So Sally's going to be heartbroken, but Johnny's going to be out of the villa. And I mean, rightfully so. He went against Justine, but sadly, that would hurt Sally's feelings, of course. So back to the Jely conversation. Johnny seemed quiet during the marriage conversation between the guys. But I thought it was interesting that Sally plans to never date anyone again after Johnny. So she is very smitten with him. And we've seen countless conversations of her talking to the girls about how great their relationship is going. She's never been with somebody like him, that's someone who matches her energy and she really feels like she could be herself around. I think Johnny is just chilling with her. I just hate, I keep saying this, but I really hate that the girls seem way more into the guys than the guys are. I think the guys are on this wave of, let me just see what's going to happen, where the guys are on, or the girls are on this wave of, I already know what's happening. We're happening. Can we work on this? Connor is really the only guy who is serious about building a relationship in there. Now we have Carrington and Kirsten. I think Carrington is looking for a serious relationship as well. He's a man who definitely knows what he wants, especially if he had enough sense to break up with Kirsten on the conclusion that he's not the right guy for her. We also learned in a post interview with Lauren that Carrington told Kirsten multiple times to stop drinking, that he didn't like her drinking habits. I mean, I think Kirsten is a bartender. And I think Carrington is thinking about their relationship realistically because he is from Utah and Kirsten is from Texas. So they'd have to do that long distance thing. He lives in the city and I think she lives in a rural community. So there's that difference. So they have a difference of lifestyle as well. It seems like he's more of a serious businessman and wants someone who's very career oriented as he is. And Kirsten isn't in the same spot of her life. So I don't think she wants to be a bartender forever, but she's not as established in her career as Carrington is. And then I think there are also some personality traits that may not be linking there as well. But he's already ruled her out, and he's told her that she's ruled out, and Kirsten is just still pining after this guy, and I hate it. I no longer have sympathy for this girl because they're broken up, and she's still trying to get onto him. Why? It feels evil. And Carrington, he looked more arrogant in that scene with Kirsten laying on the daybeds there than he has in the entire season. But Kirsten did verify to us that Carrington is a douchebag. She called him that to his face. I think all of the girls think that about him because last episode, Matthew Hoffman, the narrator, did tell us that he was the most pied guy. So I think he gets on everybody's nerves just a little bit with his arrogance. But he looked especially arrogant on that daybed because he had his hands behind his head, his legs crossed. I think he just looked very dominant and open and territorial. And he also looked like he wasn't very interested in the conversation Kirsten was offering him. And also Kirsten kind of looked like she was into Carrington and like giving him her undivided attention, but she also had the pillow in front of her, which kind of signified to me that she was on the defense a little bit, like she was trying to cut something in between them. But I'm not sure. I'm not a body language expert. I just didn't like that she was pining after this man and just patting his ego and just setting herself up for rejection. No, move on, Kirsten. There are better guys than Carrington. You already know he's not the guy for you. Why are you trying to get him to change his mind? So I thought it was funny that Carrington thought the tie the knot challenge made him think of sex. I thought that was very weird. But we didn't get anything between the two of them about marriage. Like, we didn't hear any snippets of them talking about marriage. So yeah, there's that. Bring on Casa Amor. All of these relationships are stale and boring. Please, please, bring on the new guys. Bring on the new girls. Give us the drama. I want mess. Okay, instead of doing our tweet mentions or assessing the polls on the Love Island app, this time we're going to discuss our impressions of the new Casa Amor cast, and we're going to share with you our predictions about who we think is going to stay loyal and who we think is going to move on to a new love of their life in Love Island. They should hire me to be the narrator. I'm coming for your job, Matthew Hoffman. Now we're going to go down the list and share our first impressions of the Casa Amor boys. There isn't a lot of information about these guys yet because they haven't released their intro videos describing their personalities or who they're going for. All we know is their names, how they look, their age, and where they're from. Mike, he's cute. He's 26 from San Jose, California. He's African American Filipino. There's already tea out on Mike. Some people dug up some old tweets of him that others perceive to be colorist tweets. We're not going to go into that on our podcast episode. If you'd like the tea on that, check out our blog post. I think Mike is probably gonna go for Kirsten. He seems like a party boy, judging by some of the pictures on his Instagram. I'm not sure if anybody's going to go for Mackenzie because she's very intertwined with Connor, but Mike may also go for Moira. Next up, we have Jalen. He's on the hot list. He's very handsome. He's 27 years old from Nashville, Tennessee. He's African American and Caucasian. There's also a little bit of tea on Jalen already. Some people on Twitter asked I think it was his brother or his friend, whether or not Jalen was into black girls, and his friend replied yes, but that doesn't mean he's going to go for one at Casa Amor. So Jalen's hair is dyed blonde, so I'm thinking he may go for Moira or Mackenzie because they're blondes too. He's trying to be in the blonde club. And I just think Jalen is on this vibe if he wants to be Justin Bieber. He's giving me strong party boy vibes. But I also think he's going to wreck some stuff up. So hopefully Jalen makes it into the main villa. Mike too, because he seems like a lot of fun. DeAndre, he's 25 years old from North Miami Beach, Florida. I believe he's a professional baseball player and he's African American. I'm not sure who he's going to go for. I feel the safe option for him would be Justine, but we don't want Justine to be anybody's safe option. So I feel like DeAndre could go for anybody who likes him. I'm not really sure. Aaron is a cake decorator. He's 26 from Henderson, Nevada, wherever that is, and he's Caucasian. I'm thinking Aaron is our new quirky, cute nerd. You know, just our guy who's nice and makes you feel comfortable and makes jokes. I can see him with Mackenzie, and I can see him with Moira. But once again, we don't know who he's going for. Next, we have Pat, full name Patrick. He's an attorney. He's 28 years old from San Dimas, California. His ethnicity isn't clear. He's definitely Asian. I'm guessing he's Egyptian. I think him and Justine would make a really good pair because they're both intelligent. They're both in established careers. They're older and they're probably ready to settle down. And Pat also gives me the vibe that he likes to party. There are some pictures of him in groups of friends and just having a good time. So I think those two would get along really well. Next, we have the first impressions of the girls in Casa Amor. First up, we have Cher. I think she's supposed to be the bombshell of the group. She's 22 years old from Miami, Florida. I believe she's a bartender, but it's really hard to tell that from her Instagram or like any information I found of that on the internet. So she's Afro-Latina, I believe. She's from the Dominican Republic, or that's her ethnicity, the Dominican or nationality. Then we have Mercedes. She's 26 years old from Las Cruces, New Mexico. And I can already tell this girl wants to be famous. She's going to be a lot of fun. It looks like she's having a party in her picture. And through her social media, she has lots of pictures of herself. She has a TikTok and a YouTube. So I think this girl is definitely a party girl. She's going to try really hard to get into the villa. I believe she is Caucasian. I thought by her name and by where she's from that she may be Latina, but I think she's Caucasian. I think she's probably going to go for Johnny. I think she's going to go for Johnny. And I think Johnny is probably going to go for Cher. But we'll see how that love triangle manifests. Then we have Faith. She's 26 years old from Kansas, Missouri. She has a pageant consulting business. She's Caucasian. And I think Faith and... who's that guy? Oh, Calvin. I think Faith and Calvin would be a pretty good match. Then we have Janelle. She's very cute. She's from Paramount, California. She's 24 years old and she's African American. Yes. And she has braids. A lot of people were complaining that Rachel's wig was not good enough for them and that Rachel should have gone on with braids, something like that. Well, now we have a girl with braids, but we know how the story of the Black woman goes. You can't do right. You can't do wrong. You can't do anything right, wrong. You know, it's just... you just have to be. It's a special case. So hopefully no one makes fun of Janelle's hair. And if they do, that's just unfortunate because the girl's hair looks fine. So hopefully we don't get that hair conversation with her. There's some tea on her. Actually, Janelle's friends got into a Twitter fight with the Justine stands. If you want to get the tea on that, check out our blog post, because that's where we go into detail describing what happened, who said what, and how the person running Justine's Instagram account clapped back. So next we have Laurel, who is 22 years old. She's a Southern belle from Auburn, Alabama, and I believe she has an eyelash company. She's Caucasian as well. I think Carrington would really like her because she seems to be goal and career oriented. So I'm thinking maybe their lifestyles will align a little better. As far as the people in the main villa who are going to stay loyal, I think Justine is gonna move on. I know that she's very, very smitten with Caleb, but I think if there's a guy who's giving Justine good conversation, like someone like Pat who's ready to take those next steps, then Justine is just gonna keep it moving, because Caleb and Justine left their relationship open and they were just starting to get comfortable when Casa Amor hit, so they haven't established anything concrete yet. I think Caleb is going to stay faithful to Justine just because Justine has that power. But if that were to happen, then the public would hate Justine, because there are already some Justine haters out there who are down on her for her looks and who feel like she's had too many men. The answer to that is no. That's what they're there for, to date around and find who's for them. And Justine honestly hasn't had anyone who's completely all for her yet, so she can try out as many flavors as she needs to until she gets the right one. But I think it would be an okay situation if Caleb found somebody at Casa Amor, as long as Justine finds someone at Casa Amor as well. But either way, Justine is going to get her upgrade. So as far as what Caleb does, it doesn't really matter, but I think he's going to stay loyal to Justine because she's just that girl. Johnny and Jaleb. I think Johnny is actually going to stay faithful to Jaleb, but while he's in Casa Amor, he's going to have all the fun he wants. He's going to have the biggest party, and it's going to make him look really bad, so everyone's going to want to evict him out of the house. Jaleb, I think she's going to have her fun too, because she is a fun-loving person. And I do think she's very smitten with Johnny, so although she's going to participate in the games, I think she's going to stay faithful to Johnny, but when they get back from Casa Amor, their relationship isn't going to work. Carrington and Kirsten are both single, so they're both obviously going to find somebody at Casa Amor and officially break up into new couples. Connor and Mackenzie, this is a little bit hard to call. I feel like Connor is the type of guy to say to Mackenzie, oh yeah, I like you, and then another girl shows him attention and he's gone. So he could very much pull a Curtis on Mackenzie. But then again, I feel like Mackenzie isn't really feeling Connor that much right now either. So these two are kind of like the flip of a coin. I think Connor is kind of set on Mackenzie, but I think he'll give the other girls at Casa Amor some attention. So I'm going to say, yeah, Connor's going to move on at Casa Amor. And I think if someone is giving Mackenzie some good energy, she's going to move on at Casa Amor too. I just think those two are trying to make an unworkable situation work. Moira and Calvin. I hope Moira has enough sense to move on. Like, I hope these new boys in her face will just tell her bye. Tell her to say, bye, Calvin. It was nice when I knew you. Not really. So I think Moira's going to move on, and so is Calvin. Thank you to everyone who participated in the group chat. It was a lot of fun watching the episode with you all. Keep up with us at Lonely Loquate on Instagram and Twitter. DM us if you'd like to be featured on the show. We love responding to listeners' comments. We'll be back tomorrow night with more fresh Love Island content.